presumably, Mr. Vaz, you're very much in support of this announcement.
I am. Good morning. Just to be clear, I'm not against soft drinks, as you suggested. I'm against the very large sugar content in the soft drinks that hopefully will be the subject of a tax when it comes in 2 years' time. I think the Chancellor has made the right move. He's responded to the concerns of those who've been campaigning on health for a number of years, people like Jamie Oliver, others, Action for Sugar, an organisation that is run by doctors in London. So this is a big and bold move which should be welcomed. Of course, the money is welcome to be spent on activities like sport, but £520 million is a drop in the ocean in terms of the budget of our country. So what's much more important is the government taking a firm view and making sure that people are aware they're going to have to pay more, so they have to change their lifestyles.
And it's an interesting point you raise about the money being raised from this, because this all comes from perhaps, a can of fizzy drink, sugary drink, going up by perhaps 8p a can. It's not really going to put many people off fizzy drinks, is it?
Well, it isn't. Some are. When they introduced this in Mexico, and recently the Minister for Health of Mexico came to speak to Parliament, to the all-party diabetes group, and he said when this was put up in Mexico on sugary drinks, the consumption went down. So there's evidence that there is going to be a change. But the biggest importance of this is to tell the manufacturers and the retailers, first of all, that they need to change their lifestyles. They need to promote their non-sugar drinks, which I'm sure some of the organisations would be very keen to do so immediately. But secondly, if you walk into a retailer today in Leicester and you get to the till, you are offered all these chocolates and sugary products before you pay for your item that you go in for. So they need to change as well. I mean, this morning, for example, I'm just about to go into a training session because, as you know, I'm a type 2 diabetic. I gave up sugar 7 years ago. I'm very careful with what I eat, and now I'm going into some physical activity for the next hour as soon as I put this phone down, because it's a combination of factors that will help us deal with preventing the onset of diabetes.
Well, this is the point, isn't it? Because, you talk about, the shop counters and the way that works, and, this is just a tax on sugary drinks. It's not a burger tax, it's not a fast food tax, it's inconsistent, isn't it?
It's a big start, it's a bold move, it's not the end, it's the beginning. It's government saying we are concerned about the health of the nation, and we're doing this through the taxation system. And, it's only that start. It's not going to suddenly solve the diabetes and obesity crisis we have in the United Kingdom and the epidemic that is sweeping parts of the world. So why criticise the Chancellor because he's prepared to make that start? After all, why do we elect governments? We elect governments to make these decisions for us. But in the end, of course, it's up to individuals. They have to make that change if they want to live longer, if they want to make sure that the pressure on the National Health Service is less. If we need to find the 500,000 people with pre-diabetes, we don't know where they are. And this is a way of reminding people of their responsibilities. I mean, the diabetes crisis is going to cripple our health service unless we come to terms with it. And this is a very important start. So well done, Chancellor.
Yeah, and you're up against massive worldwide companies who are pretty unhappy about the tanking their share prices got yesterday on the back of this announcement. Is this a long-term fight that you can win?
It is a long-term fight that we can win. It started like this with smoking, when people were very much against smoking, and everyone, the tobacco industry, decided to get very worked up about it. Now, of course, you can't have smoking in enclosed spaces, and that's made a huge difference. The number of people who get cancer has reduced, and the lifestyles of people have changed. So a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. I'm sorry to sound like a Chinese philosopher, but Leicester has a part to play. We have the best diabetes centre in Europe, in the Leicester General site. We have fantastic clinicians, and now I hope we're going to spend less on those sugary fizzy drinks. Take the no sugar substitute. Stop drinking sugar in your coffee.
Keith Vaz, Leicester East MP, thank you very much for your time this morning. Your thoughts?
Healthcare charity Diabetes UK show that the number of people living with diabetes in the UK has soared by 60% over the last decade. But tragically, the national news and Keith Vaz continue to respond with diabetes scaremongering. Yes, diabetes is a problem, but let's get our facts straight about dealing with it. Something that medical reporter Dan Hurley accomplished in his 2010 book, Diabetes Rising. Notably, unlike many commentators in the media, Hurley focuses most of his anger on those who continue to blame the rise of diabetes on individual lifestyle choices. He writes, quote, "For the larger medical community to continue to expect that individual diet and exercise programs will turn around the type 2 pandemic amounts to willful indifference to the facts." So, as the capitalist food industry can reap massive profits from foisting unhealthy food upon consumers, aided and abetted by misleading advertising claims, Hurley argues the pandemic that is diabetes will never dissipate. Instead, he emphasizes the importance of creating new laws that will enable meaningful regulation of the food and restaurant industries to better safeguard public health. In contrast to such reasonable analyses, much of the reporting on diabetes revolves around the crisis it presents for the NHS. It remains largely unsaid that the most effective way of restoring the efficiency of the NHS would be to reverse the processes of privatisation and to reverse the long-standing funding cuts that have crippled effective healthcare provision. Hospitals are certainly being bankrupted, but this is not being caused by ill health. Instead, it is being caused by toxic private finance initiatives that place private profit before the needs of public health. Following on from such profiteering priorities, cost cutting has led to a tragic situation where we find that people with diabetes are facing serious illness because the number of blood test strips available in the NHS are being rationed to cut costs. So let's get one thing straight. The rise in diabetes should not be blamed on individual eating habits. On the other hand, there are far more powerful actors with a lot more political influence than individual diabetes sufferers who should be blamed for our nation's ill health and the dismantling of the NHS. But, as ever, these powerful economic and political actors remain safely off stage while the media sideshow rages on about our unhealthy eating habits.